Hi, Kevin. Thank you for joining me in this small discussion. Thank you for accepting the invitation.
Of course, thanks so much for having me.
Great, great. I know, of course, that you have your YouTube channel and you are a photographer. Tell me more about your professional activities.
Well, I'm a professional photographer. I've shot for magazines, automotive mostly, social media for car companies, and a lot of other things I'm leaving out. It's kind of been a little random and all over the place over the years. And during the pandemic, I started doing a YouTube channel for a number of reasons, and it was originally going to be me talking about these various experiences and a little bit of photo stuff, and then it just became, kind of automotive photography tutorials, and that has been really fun and rewarding to do. So I try to put a little bit of myself in there. It's not just the technical, set your aperture to this and shutter to this and take this picture. Like I try to explain the reason why I do things, and how I arrived there, and why I still love photography. So it's been, like I said, it's been really rewarding to do that.
The concept of the capturing the machine. Why you chose this naming, and what are your impressions so far from the people that follow you on YouTube?
That's a great question. It started from Instagram, and it started. I remember exactly where I was like 8 years ago, and I was taking a picture of a plane, and just the words hit me. Capturing machine. The idea of capturing the machine. The idea of trying to depict the essence of something. If you believe that, like a machine of any sort can have a soul. I mean, maybe not literally, but trying to reveal something about this that is a little more artistic. And I was taking a photo of a plane, actually, and these words hit me. It's like the I don't know if you've ever seen in like Boogie Nights, like this scene where he talks about how he arrived at the name Dirk Diggler, and it like lit up in like neon and exploded and everything. That's sort of how it was for me. It was just this kind of revelation moment. So I my Instagram, that's what I called my Instagram, and I don't want to say built that up over the years, but I just was really committed to doing that, and I guess I built a small reputation on Instagram from that, and then when I decided to start doing videos, it was a natural extension, was to expand that into videos, and I didn't really know what that looked like at first, but I've kind of taken a meandering path to finding out what that is.
That's
and
amazing.
and the reception has been really great. Like it's been seriously rewarding, and just seeing the amount of time that people spend watching the things that I say is like kind of shocking to me, and I'm not even that big of a channel, but just that, like, people are spending hours and hours and hours watching me talk about stuff, and then people comment, and it affects them, and they like the channel, or they like the way I present it, or they are learning stuff about this subject that they're either really into or just getting into, or whatever. Sorry about the cat. So it's been the feedback has been really good. It's positive and definitely encouraging. If I probably wouldn't just do it for a financial reason, like do YouTube at this point. It's not like a big financial benefit to me, but it is rewarding in other ways.
Very, very unique content what you do about the machine, so to say. And maybe we will see in the future, I don't know, airplane photography from you. I don't know. But you said that you like the airplanes as well. So, what are the future plans for your channel? What would you like to present as next?
Um, I mean, I'm just doing, like I said, I just kind of said I'm kind of doing this for me, or for my own fulfillment, or for the audience, doing things that I think people will enjoy, but I'm not chasing like what's going to be the most numbers, like what's going to get me the most views. Like I'm doing this for like, what do I want to explore? What do I want to get into? Like, how do I want to grow as a and I mean this in the lowest possible sense, but as like a aspiring filmmaker. You know, I'm not a filmmaker really, but I like to work in video. I like to obsess over all the details of it. It's a lot of fun, and so I think in the future it's more stuff like I do, but also, you know, I would like to do more like short documentary things, or, you know, do a feature on a person, or, you know, another feature on a car or something historic, that just sort of examine a subject that I think it would be cool to get into more, or that I think would be cool for the audience to learn about. But basically just the things that I kind of find interesting and want to dig deeper on. Like, it's a great avenue for that, and I like kind of learning more filmmaking techniques and things, you know. And I'll watch movies and I'll see some sequence, and I'm like, why can't I just try to, you know, recreate that or spoof that or do something like that? Like, that's how I learn, and that's what keeps me excited. So I'm the short answer is I'm doing more things, and making, you know, I would like to make it a little more cinematic, and just learn and grow, and make more things. But I'm really just doing for what I like and what I want to do. Hopefully people stick around.
Of course, they will stick around. And allow me to say that it's already very cinematic, at least for my point of view. I find your videos very unique on the how you present us the information, how you do it with this documentary kind of style. This was the reason that I was attracted with your videos from the first place. Videos, how much time it takes from your day?
I mean, if I looked at the number of hours, it would probably be a depressing figure as far as the return on that. But it is, you know, uh, I start with an idea, and then I kind of write a script, and then, you know, a lot of times it requires going out, getting new footage, especially if it's a photo tutorial. A lot of times for that, I have to get help from someone or set up tripods or whatever. And then, you know, as you obviously you see, like, I record kind of once that's captured. That's when I return to that script and, you know, record myself in here, and it's in my office, and it's very comfortable and easy. And, you know, and I see people doing YouTube where they're, you know, standing next to a car recording, and it's like, oh, that's so much more effort. Here I can control everything. I can control the light. I can control all of it, and record very comfortably here. So, and also I have as much time as I need to get through the script or whatever. So, and then the editing, you know, also, as you know from video, the editing takes quite a while, but it's good. I'm always just learning new things. So, you know, I have a lot of collaborators that help me.
Please.
My friend Daniel Sloan, who has popped up in a number of videos, and Chris Perkins and Crystal Hammond, Chris Wynn, and Victoria Scott have all helped me recording me. You know, when I started, it was like, I thought, oh, I did this cool trip once, and I could talk about this trip. Man, I did this crazy trip where I flew on a cargo plane across the Atlantic with Porsches on the plane, and it was really amazing. And I was like, oh, this would be cool to talk about this thing that happened in a video. But it's like, people don't really want to see a thing that happened in the past and you talking about it. They want to, you know, there's not as much of a value on that, you know, whereas if I can teach a skill, there is more of a value for the viewer, and people respond to that. So, you know, that's how my channel kind of pivoted to the photo tutorial stuff, and I felt I had a lot to share there. And of course, that makes it more challenging to get footage of myself out, you know, in the field, where if I'm shooting a car, you know, I might need someone to help me. But it's yeah, that's all there is to it. But I try not to, it is to some extent a formula, but it's also, I'm always trying to learn new things or add new things to it or expand in some way. So I never feel like I'm making the same video again.
Now, we'll continue. What inspires you most in your professional work now, outside of the YouTube? What does sparkle your interest every day when you wake up? What do you do to be always inspired with your own work?
I mean, I like photographers from the past, like Robert Frank, people like that shot lifestyle and living and daily life and these kind of mundane places captured in an interesting way. Like I find that very interesting, and I like a lot of uh, portrait photographers and people that use light and work with light in a cool and innovative way. And I like seeing that kind of stuff and trying to apply it to my subject matter. Um, and then just like it sounds lame, but I love like excuse me. Um, I it sounds lame, but I love nature and just being in beautiful places and being outside and seeing the light and seeing this the setting sun in an amazing place where you've never been before. Like that's the most inspiring thing. Is just I I like lighting and studio lighting and applying strobes and stuff on cars, but it does seem like you know we can never artificially make something as stunning as what natural sunlight can do in a perfect situation with the perfect clouds and atmosphere and everything. So just being around that is a lot of inspiration. So traveling and being in beautiful places is the thing that is always inspiring. That will always. I don't really find myself in a rut, but like there will be every 6 months where it's like I need to make a trip to the desert to shoot because you just can't get that anywhere else. So you really got to get out of your normal zone. And if you live in the desert, then maybe you have to go somewhere else, the mountains or whatever. I love being in these places like that where the skies and the natural beauty. Because where I am personally, we don't really have natural beauty, so I have to travel.
Yes, of course. The landscape is always very inspiring, and I can see it also on your portfolio that you have a lot of shots in different landscapes, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I love driving like across the Southwest United States. Like I live in Texas, and it's a long way to California, but it's pretty amazing most of the way. A lot of empty, remote areas, a lot of mountains, a lot of big skies, and interesting vegetation and great sunsets and dry weather. So it's something I'm always drawn to that environment.
Great, great. Moving to the next question, I would like to understand how do you think photographers that are watching your videos for the most part and seeing your photos in your Instagram can benefit from what you do, from what you share with us. And I think it's regardless of the genre, right?
Yeah, yeah. Um, I'm I'm not gonna have the hubris to say that anyone can learn from me and it's all universal. And if you're a photographer of portraits, you can learn. But I think a lot of photographers are kind of self-taught, especially a lot of professionals, and it's not. I mean, there is school for it. We can go to school for it, but the things you end up doing in the real world, or for social media, or for commercial work, or whatever, like that's not necessarily what they teach you in school. They teach you how to operate the camera correctly and how to use light a little bit. And I took photo classes in college, but everything, like for example, shooting from a moving car to shoot another car, like that's all self-taught. So I think there is a benefit to anyone just to seeing how other photographers work and seeing what they do, seeing why they do things, and even if you think I'm wrong and you're like I do it a different way, then it at least expands your perspective on that. And you're aware of what people are doing, and I think also, um, I think all photographers are after similar things, especially when you're working professionally or any situation really, regardless of subject matter. It's we're all trying to use the light either that we have or the light that we bring and get the best looking results within a given time in a given scenario. It's like if you show up at a job and you have a job and it's you're either shooting an event or shooting a car or shooting a wedding or a portrait. You want to you have to work in a certain amount of time, use what you have, problem solve, have a vision in your head and then be able to adapt and get it done and deliver the best result. And so I think that's a universal thing. And so that's one of the hardest challenges as a professional photographer is doing that. So I think that can be universal. I think there's lessons that apply to many different disciplines.
Interesting. Uh, what would be your advice in the modern times for photographers that are, so to say, struggling economically? Because, of course, it is, well, let's admit it, it is a very, very competitive profession. So, what would be your advice to them if they want to start right now, or if they started and they don't see any gains out of their effort?
Uh, this is such a tough question, and you've actually I get this a lot, and I've and it's really tough for me to answer this because I've not um, I've been very lucky. I had a lot of breaks. I got a big following on Instagram when there was probably only 1% as many people on Instagram as there are now. If I started my account today and posted the exact same stuff, like I would not have the audience that I have today. Like, and I've had it's networking. I've had people that I know, people that whatever. It's just like a million breaks. I've been so lucky. So it's so hard for me to answer and say what I would do if I was starting now. But I really have tried to put myself in those shoes and tried to take the lessons I've learned. And I mean, and even me, I've had all these breaks, and I kind of know what I'm doing, and you know, but it's hard even for me to year over year always make it work. Like it's just so much of it is like what comes through the door. Who's gonna email me or call me. So I'm working on a video on this subject where I'm trying to give advice to people that what I would do now. So I can I'm going to give you some of the answers, some of the ideas and things. So this might be a longer answer, and I might read a little more, but these are directly notes that I've been kind of compiling over a little bit of time to uh, to help people because this is like advice I really want to share.